Welcome to the Dysregulated podcast and the special series, The Intake Interviews. I'm your host, Elliot Waters. In this feature, we dive deep into conversations with individuals who have a lived or living experience with mental illness, offering real, raw, and genuine insights into what it's like to navigate the complexities of mental ill health. The aim is to bring authentic stories to light, encourage open conversations, and create a space where we can learn from one another. This episode may include discussions of sensitive topics such as suicide, self-harm, substance use, sexual violence, domestic violence, trauma, and other mental health related issues. These conversations offer genuine insights into mental illness, but they may be distressing for some listeners. If any of these topics are triggering for you, please take care of your well-being and reach out for support if needed. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Hello, Stell. Hello again.
Hello, I'm back, baby.
You're back. Now, the plan was always to get you on, for a few episodes, part 1, 2, 3, 4. But I didn't envisage that part 2 would be coming out so soon. But you really want to have this interview here today because there's going to be some contrasts between today's Stell and the Stell that did that first interview. Or at least that's the story, isn't it? That's the plan?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So there's not much structure around this episode. We're just going to go for it. And look, as I say all the time, this is the most raw, honest, genuine fair income podcast on all the internet. And this is another example why the intake interview series. Okay. All right, Stell.
Yeah.
Can you give us a basic rundown of why we are here today?
Well, I think definitely since listening to my last episode, or I think I listened to it 3 times, critiqued every moment of it. But I think I painted this altered picture of who I was and where I'm at in my life right now. Like that definitely was a lot of past and old versions of myself and my story, which was very valid for the first episode. But I feel even after talking to George that it was like I was so negative on myself and I didn't realize how much of a negative person I am and can be, especially when putting it back and on myself, like the way that my inner voice is. So it was really interesting to go over it a few times, especially where I am, like we've been talking like about me and my cycle and where my life was at that 2 weeks that I didn't realize until now how much has changed. And that is so BPD, like that's 100% BPD. And I was like, oh no, I'm like growing out of it. I definitely don't have it. But yeah, some of the things I'm like, that's not even happening. That was so big in my world then when I was speaking about it. But, after a few weeks down the track, I've had my bleed. I know like how I regulate throughout the month and how I change and how things in my life change and the way that I think and make decisions. And yeah, so it was really, really interesting to hear myself back and realize that I've got to stop being so hard on myself. I really do. Like we all have a story and we all are living with some type of mental health and that's okay. But I think the biggest thing for me is knowing that I am not the person that I was before and I have broken that cycle. And yes, there may be underlying patterns and things that play out subtly in my life now, but I think I just get so caught up on that version of me that I was and like the whole identity crisis thing that I still feel like I'm that person. I still feel like I'm the rock and roll star, as Elliot would say.
There's only
So
room for
yeah.
one rock and roll star, and that's me.
Hey, I've seen us on the dance floor. We're pretty good. A great team. Yeah, so I don't know. I felt really, really called to jump back in with you. And obviously over the last 5 to 6 years, you have seen a change in me too. And I know that you would definitely resonate with the fact that we do get caught up on being this person that we were and not realizing that we're like we're not 19 anymore. This is like, people change, attitudes change, personalities change, decisions, life things, like it all changes. And yeah, I feel like I still need to keep that part of me to make me fun still and make it, like, oh yeah, like I'm still like that, when that's not. I'm a great mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend. And yeah, even though that's not going to take away any of the things that I said and did in the past, I have to give myself more credit to, it's kind of like a validation podcast now. Give myself a little bit more credit and know that, yeah, like the fuck ups were back then, and I strive every day to ensure that, these things are not getting fed into my children. Yeah, that's a huge one. So it's all about confidence too. I felt a real strong call to talk about confidence with you, and how we were going off the back of identity and stuff like that last time. That, yeah, it's just weird how in different stages of the month, how I'm switched on or I'm switched off. So yeah, interesting.
So do you realize? So I basically interviewed your inner critic last time. That's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what that was about. And today I seem to be getting a more optimistic you, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. Um, do you realize in the moment that you've slid into a bit of a negative sort of spiral, or is it you look back
Um,
afterwards and go, oh, okay, that was that?
Definitely afterwards, because the last, like, since that episode, it started probably, it was like an episode in an episode. How good. Yeah, it was about a week before that that I started spiraling. And I don't know, oh, well, I do know now, looking back on what it was. I could tell you like the whole, how it played out actually from start to finish. And then it wasn't until probably the week after the episode, or maybe the week after that, maybe 2 weeks after, when I've gone, oh, wow, okay, that was a crazy wild ride for the last like 3 to 4 weeks.
A lot of the focus is on often sort of the manic or hypermanic, I guess, highs, sort of
Hmm.
episodes. But people don't always talk as much about the depressive episodes. And they also give opportunities to reflect, look back and go, I wish I did that different. It's not just doing things caught up in the moment in a manic sort of sense. It's more in the depressive side, the other end of the scale. But those
Mm.
episodes are very distinct as well. And it sounds like this one was quite definable.
Mm. I feel like the biggest thing for me was it was a trigger point, 100%. It always starts with a trigger point, and I was dealing with the identity thing, and it was when George actually, I booked him in for a vasectomy months and months ago, and then when it come up around, I was like, no, we're not having any more kids. Like, I don't, I'm over it. Like, we've got three beautiful boys. That's it. I don't think I can do it again. And I was so certain with that. And then George had the vasectomy, and sorry, George, saying that. Sorry, babes. Um, yeah, it kind of just I think it triggered something inside me, because I was like, oh God, now I am not having any more babies. I won't be pregnant again. Not that I want to do it again, but who am I without doing that? Because that's all I've done for the last 5 years. And I've dabbled in and out and in and out. And now I'm like in motherhood and nothing else. So there was like nothing else happening. And there was just a few little things in my life that around that time that I was going, okay, well, I need to hyperfixate on something else. So I started hyperfixating on my ex best friend. And then I did some rash ass crazy stuff, which, like, I haven't spoke to her in nearly 3 years. So it was just crazy. It was so impulsive, and it was so, I knew at the time what I wanted to say if I was to speak to her, which I was trying to do. And I knew that that was coming from an intuitive and very true place of, apology and just need a finalization, acceptance. Like, it just needed to be done. I needed to be like, it that week, it needed to be over. And I feel like it was that was another trigger. So I was like, okay, what else do I do? And then that went away because I was like, I can feel myself spiraling. I need to go to the psychiatrist. And in the last podcast, I mentioned that I don't have ADHD. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm not getting any help. But in that time, I knew I needed help, and I was lucky enough to get an appointment when I was in it. So I've then gone, and he's like, okay, we need to do an evaluation for ADHD and OCD and a reevaluation for everything. And then I started undergoing that. And I felt like I was going a bit crazy because I was like, I thought this was going to be a quick thing. I thought I was going to go in there. It was going to be like, all right, let's alter your meds a little bit. He gave me these meds that sent me off my bloody rocker for 3 days, just a mood stabilizer. It was what was it? The Topramate. Yeah, and that was horrible. That was horrible. So then I called him, and he was like, okay, you need to stop taking that immediately and then come back in and see me. Oh, no. Yeah, I'll come back in and see me when I can get an appointment, but here's some gabapentin from now till then. And I was really anxious about taking something new. But then I tried that a few times before bed, and that helped me sleep. And I feel like where my cycle was at in the month as well, it started to fade out. So this whole heightened hyperfixation, manic situation that was happening was starting to fizzle, and I started to feel myself again. So yeah, as that went on, I, in that time, bought a fucking rabbit for my children. We are not pet people whatsoever. And poor George, oh my God, I could bring a fucking tortoise home named Daphne, and this guy he would build a pen, and he would help. I could do anything crazy and he would do it. But I had a big chat with him after, because I was like, babe, like we've got to know now. It's been like 10 years. We've got to know when I'm doing some crazy stuff, and you've got to be able to say no. And the hardest thing for him is to tell me no, which is so fair because no one tells me no, right? So yeah, that was fun. And then we had the rabbit for 3 days, and the kids didn't love it anyway. So it ended up going to one of George's really good mates, and that's just so funny. That's just another story to tell. But I feel like after that week, I got my period, and then I was like, oh, I could breathe again. And my list started to get less full because it was chaotic. It was like too many things on the list. I wasn't taking my meds properly. Like it was crazy. And now looking at it, it is what we're having for dinner, what I need to get out of the freezer, the meds that I've taken every day, the important things that we need to do, and the things that we're doing on the weekend. And, weeks ago, it was insane. So I don't know what's gone on from that time, but I think the biggest realization for me after that whole thing, it wasn't a dangerous episode, which is fine, but it made me really step back and go, oh my goodness, like, is my family dealing with this every 2 weeks? That is wild. Like, my life is just upside down. Yeah. Excuse me. Let me grab Toby. Hold on. He's just woke up. Hey, honey. Hey.
I can hear Toby very clearly.
Did you have a good sleep? Oh my goodness, you want to see your friend
What did you
Elliot?
just say? Dysregulated podcast is the best show ever. Oh, thanks, mate.
Hey, buddy.
Here's our little guest.
Yes.
So I
Just
was
meet him
thinking,
finally.
yeah. So when you have these sort of depressive, negative emotion sort of episodes, would you say you're in fight or flight or freeze mode? Because you seem very sort of action orientated, that even if you're in the sort of depressive side of things, there's still, there's still energy to sort of try, because you've got to be a mother. You can't just stop these sorts of
Yeah.
things. But
See, I
whereas,
don't
for
think,
example, when I get it, for example, often it's in bed, I don't do a thing, but that wouldn't fly in your life. So,
yeah, no, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, going off what, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I feel that like there is a huge part of me that does want to just freeze. And I know that comes out with just leave me alone, just everyone leave me the fuck alone. Like I just need a minute. And it's the overwhelm. And I'm sure Jordan and my family hear that more than what they should. And I know that's quite negative, but like I do need my time because I don't get a moment to freeze. I'm in fight or flight all the time. And when I'm in those, I woke up angry 3 days later after getting the rabbit, being like, babe, why do we have a fucking rabbit? Like, what? We need to get rid of this rabbit. Like, oh, I cannot cope with this. We're going on holidays. Why did? And he goes, I don't know if this is the manic episode because you're aggressive and because you're wanting to do this right now. He said, I didn't know if getting the rabbit because it was so like, la di da, we're just getting a rabbit and really chill, and now you're like, we've got to get rid of it. So he was confused. And he's like, that's how it is most of the time, too. Because even my brother, we had a conversation on the phone and he's like, Stell, I need to know, like, I want to help you because you seem so fine. I didn't know that you weren't okay. And I was like, it's not that I'm not okay. It's just more that, like, my life's up in the air and I need something to hyperfixate about. Why? Like my mind's not anything else. Everything else is settled and grounded. But me, I'm like, oh, well, I'm bored this week. Let's do something fucking crazy. And it's not me consciously making that decision. Yeah. So it was a really big wake up call, like to hear from then till now.
Yeah. Is it frightening not knowing what could specifically or has specifically caused these episodes, that they could be coming at any time? Your
Mm-hmm.
control over them is limited.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is that a constant concern of yours? Because I can say it is for me, definitely.
100%. And I blame a lot of that too on nicotine. So, like, it's at any point, if I'm feeling, overwhelmed or something's coming, I get that really excited feeling like on the weekend, I just wanted to go out. I don't even know why. I've been a homebody. We've been having the best weekends with the babies, doing so much fun stuff. This weekend, we had so much fun stuff, but the weather changed. It was hot. It was perfect freaking time in the afternoon. And it just come in and I got it in my head that I wanted to go out. And then I started to get sad because I was like, I have no friends. No one wants to go out with me. My life has changed. Like, there's no one I can call to just say, come on, get dressed. We're going out. That's not, it could have gone really badly then, but then I don't know where I am. Again, I'm going to say cycle, but where I am right now, because it came in and George just looked at me and it's like he kind of knew that I was feeling a bit up in the air and like, because I was like, oh, so what are we doing? And like walking around doing lots of jobs, like trying to keep myself busy. And he's like, come on, I'll make you a drink. I know you don't drink, but let's just go have a drink out the back. And he made me a really nice cocktail and we sat out the back and we had a bit of a drink together and I got a little bit drunk. And then we put the kids to bed, cooked steak and watched our favorite show and ate ice cream and went to bed. And I'm like, God, the next day I woke up going, I am so glad I didn't go out. Like that's
Mm.
exactly what I needed. But when I was so frightened and I'm sorry, not frightened, heightened in that state of, oh my God, I have to go out right now. It it was scary. Like I don't know when it's going to come in. So I start bulk smoking cigarettes like crazy.
So, do you have methods to sort of calm these episodes down if it's starting to, really, really snowball into something very, very potentially dangerous?
Hmm.
Do you have the level of insight in the moment to be like, all right, now this is next level. I should probably not do this.
Hmm. 2 weeks ago, no, because I was doing just rash, impulsive stuff. In this, like the last 2 weeks, oh, well, it was 4 weeks ago since we did the podcast, but in the last 2 weeks since the podcast has been out, it has been, yeah, I can. I'm like, all right, I can. I'm getting a little bit frustrated with Dougie, and Dougie will say, his thing is, Mum, I'm not silly. Stop calling me silly because he's crying at the moment for nothing, like just hurting his brother and trying to get away with it and just crying and, doing that thing. And I'm like, come on, mate, stop being silly, stop crying. And then I'll be like, he goes, I'm not silly. And that's when he said that to me. That obviously that happened a few times. And then when he said that, now I'm going, all right, buddy. So why are you upset? Let's talk about it. How can I help you? And I feel like I don't know what it is, but there's just that is always there. But like I said in the last one, it's like it just comes in and takes over, and I've just got no control. I don't know where it comes from. But when I'm like this, I'm like, okay, I can be calm. I can be focused. I can stick to the rules. I can not spend money this week. Like it's just this weird internal voice that is in control for half the month. And then I don't know if other women can relate to that, but the other half of the month is just wild, wild. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I've sort of the same problem, like positive, negative, light, dark, happy,
Mm,
sad. That's it's a basic contrast from the positive self to the negative. But I
mm,
always wonder which one's closer to the real me because I guess, like you said, I'm very similar to you. Half the month will be really positive, the other half will be really negative. A great example for me is going for jobs. If I'm
hmm
feeling good about things, that's when I'm applying for jobs. But half of the month I'm not because I feel like I'm incompetent. There's these two sides, and it sounds like there's these two sides sort of warring with each other within you as well.
Definitely. And I relate to that as well because I want to do support work next year. And I feel like I was just saying it like kind of like a broken record, I would always call it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then in the last 2 weeks, I've got everything done. So I'm ready to go as soon as next year comes around and the kids are all in daycare, I can start applying for jobs. It's like the important things all of a sudden go to the top of the list. And I feel good and I feel confident and my sex life is great because I'm confident and I'm happy and Jordan is like, wow, like this is Stell. Even though he loves all versions of Stell, it's the best for our relationship when I'm like this too, because it's a glimpse of like the potentially who I can be all the time. And it's really sad that I can't be like that all the time. Like that's mental health and that's BPD. And, you know, George knows that. My family knows that. And I'm so grateful for the support I have. But I think the biggest thing for me is not portraying myself as this person that is like a negative, horrible person because I'm not, because I am like this half the month. It just depends what style you're talking to. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge topic that needs, I'll have to do something specifically on it, I think, because
Yeah.
this idea that there's at least two sub personalities, although with internal family systems, you can argue there's more, but let's just say there's two. Um,
Mm.
how to get them to reconcile with each other and sort of get on the same page when they're polar opposites, positive and
hmm
negative, is very difficult. But it's hard because some decisions are made, as you said, in either the positive frame or looking through the negative paradigm, and that can
Mm.
change huge things moving forward. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's been lot of lost opportunities for me because I haven't gone for something because I was in that negative mood. Whereas
I
then there's
agree.
examples of me going for things that were way out of my league,
hmm
but because I'm feeling positive and I guess it's all about finding the middle ground, which is something very difficult for people with BPD, and because there is no middle ground, it's black and white, so it's
I
very
know.
hard.
And I remember having this feeling as a kid too, some days I'd be like, I can face my bullies today. I walk in, with no chip on my shoulder and I'd be real mouthy. And obviously that like set them off more because that's what bullies love. Or they just thought I was hot, let's be real. But,
Definitely that.
I don't know. I think it's just been something that now as an adult I can see I've always had. And the confidence is unmatched. I feel so good in my body when I'm like this. I look in the mirror and you know, it's even like you lose a couple of kilos on the scale because not that that's important, but for me, and I know it's other people it can be, after you get your period, you're like, woohoo! Like, I know I'm talking about my cycle a lot, but I feel like in the last 5 years since having babies and it changing and it was so regular for so long and I knew like obviously I don't know I wasn't tracking it and things now but I've learned so much about it in the last 5 years that yeah, like that week where I feel good. I want that confidence all the time. And I think maybe I chase it because it does fizzle away. And maybe that's what causes XYZ a few weeks later because I'm so exhausted of chasing dopamine that I just don't have.
Yeah, so I know
Mm,
that problem as well. It's quite difficult turning on those neurotransmitters when there's not many there to turn on. So, but
mm,
so yeah, so it seems pretty defined. These sort of cycles are pretty defined because I'd say I have a similar one.
mhm.
There'll be weeks in the month that are no good, there'll be ones that are good. And I've got a funny feeling, not that I do a mood chart, but I should, that there would be this consistency there as well. But then at the same time, other things can cause a shift in mood very quickly. So sometimes I'd say it might be just the BPD, for example, doing its thing. But then other times something in life actually occurred that completely knocked my mood onto a different track. Does that happen to you as well? Sometimes it goes on its own and does its own thing and, oh, I'm sad now,
Yeah.
great. But other
Yeah.
times things in your life actually sort of dictate the mood you need to be in.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like family is a massive trigger. I absolutely love my family, but we are ride or die. We are like, it's crazy. Like I guess that's a WOG family. When something happens to someone, it happens to all of us, and we all kind of spiral together, or we cause issues to make each other spiral. So it's very triggering. Like it's a very emotionally draining relationship, but then it can also be like, sorry, it's not also, it is the most supportive way that we know how to be there for each other. And it can get crazy. It can. We're loud, we're obnoxious, we all have our own opinions, we all take it out on each other. But at the end of the day, if one of us is going down, we're all going down with the ship. And some would say that's just crazy to live like that because family should be easy, but no family's easy. No,
Definitely not.
and I really feel that is a huge trigger where my little family and George, because he's not like that with his family, it's it's kind of like an escape, but then it's also like, can someone just like fight with me? So I rev the kids up, or do the things that I used to do with my siblings and things like that. So it is. It's kind of like I unconsciously trigger myself, but yes, it does creep in. Some mornings I just wake up and go, well, that sleep woke me up on the wrong side of the bed, and that's it for the day. There is no changing this. So it's
Mm,
up and down, upside down, inside out roller coaster that we choose to pay the ticket every morning and get on and hope to God it's going to be different, but it's not. And then we do it again the next day.
we
So it is
do.
mundane, it is boring, it can be chaotic. It is all the things that I was saying before, but I think where I'm at in my headspace now, I'm so happy to be at home with Tobes and be spending this last time with my last baby, because it was only a few months ago where I was like, oh my God, I'm not having another baby. So instead of wishing it away, when I feel more level headed, I'm like, oh, I can be here and I can love this. And I know it's frustrating. And I know other mums feel this too, mum guilt, but it's beautiful and it's only a few months left. So it is where I want to be. And I think that was one of the comments that I made about myself in the last podcast that really hurt my heart and stuck with me, is that I'd rather be anywhere but here. And that I don't know who that monster was, but that monster was trying to take me down. And that's not the truth, because I am so fucking grateful to live this life and be where I am. And I love my children and I love my husband and I love my fucking friends and family so much that I think I just feel way too deeply. So yeah, that is my testimony to life.
Well, yeah,
Is
people
it
with
testament,
BPD
testament or
obviously
testimony? I don't know.
test. I don't even know
Yeah.
the New Testament,
Yeah.
but yeah, BPD is so much about just feeling deeply, and it's hard when we don't know what version's going to wake up, because that also means the people around us don't know what version is going to wake up that next morning, and
Mm-hmm.
that is so difficult for the people around the individual with BPD. So, yeah, you talk about family support and how important it is. It is important, especially for us, because we tend to do things sometimes that burns those bridges. So it's good to have supportive family and friends, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's happened plenty of times with me too. I can recall. And, I'm just lucky with family too, that no matter how much we try and burn the bridge down, we can call each other every name under the sun, or just not talk to each other, or, that bridge will never be burnt. And I really feel the pull of energy in my family at the moment that have lifted up for me. Some of the things that my brother said to me on the phone the other day has just impacted the way that I'm thinking completely because it was just so true and heartfelt. And he's a Taurus as well. He's exactly like me. We feel so deeply. The conversations we have are insane. And we're like, wow, our brains are the same. But then I'm like that with my mum too. My mum really understands me. She knows me. And, we're all human and we've all got our own issues. But my little sister, she keeps the logic in me. She keeps me strong. She's just like, come on, get up and fucking do it. You've got this. Like, I know you're hurting or I know this is going on, but yeah, to have that as well as George, to take that pressure off him and to take that away from my kids so I can be harmonious in this cycle and this circle of my life. It is a huge appreciation. And like, I don't get to see my dad much, but I feel like every time I see my dad now, it's meaningful. And that transition, I think that I was talking about last time too, I don't know, it's a weird age and I don't know if you went through it too, but like 28 to 30 is like, I'm not young, I'm not old, where am I? And I feel like I have just hit a point where I'm no longer at the crossroads anymore. You go this way or you go that way. I've started going that way, but now it's the little offsets that are like, all right, turn down this road if you want to, turn down that road, where I'm like, okay, am I going to stay on here? Or am I going to dabble off here and dabble off there? And I think that's normal. I don't know what the fuck is normal, but with BPD, it's like, how far do we veer off the road though? Can we just go off for a little bit and come back? And that's the uncertainty that freaks me out.
Over time, because obviously you've been dealing with this like forever, um,
Like
over
forever.
over time, have the negatives become less extreme than they used to be? Like, if
Yeah,
you were to act out, is it more controlled?
oh, 100%. Yeah, going off we talked about last time. Like, it was so funny actually. I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to. You can edit it out.
Oh
But
no, I'm
George,
scared.
when I come, no, it's not bad. When George come home, he was like, babe, he was like, you're making it sound like you're at home on heroin. Like you're just like a heroin junkie sitting at home all day, every day, like on drugs. No, like that is not the case at all. I have a bad relationship with drugs because I think that I like it, but I actually fucking hate it. But, when just going off what you just said then, I think I want to go off the rails, but there is a huge pool that goes, hey, sis, we are not, there's no way. And you've seen it in action too. You've seen it where I've been like, come on, let's have a good night. And then I'm like, actually, fizzle, backpedal, not, So I think there is a really strong self-awareness that I have grown and grown and grown my ball of light. And I am able to control that. I think I get sad and annoyed at myself that I can't be this like rock and roll star anymore. But yeah, it's either you can fuck it all up and go down there, or you can just chill and just,
Wind
hate
it back
yourself
a
a
little
little
bit.
bit tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. Where part of me is like, let's go.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna happen, Elliot. Even my sister the other day, I said, oh, when I said I felt like going out, I was like, sis, I just want to get dressed up and go out. And I think I'm gonna send it on your birthday. And she just laughed at me. And she's like, tell God you change your mind, like you change your undies. That's not gonna happen. I know you. You say this week, and then next week you'll be like, I can't do it. I need to go home to the kids.
It's
Yeah, so it's
yeah,
polarity, isn't it?
it is. It is. Yeah, it's difficult, so difficult to make decisions like long-standing, decisions which will impact the future. I find it's difficult because the more optimistic me is probably a little bit more optimistic than it should be, and then obviously the negative side is more so as well. So it's like I'm making
Yeah,
this big decision. What sort of mood am I in? I've got to figure it out so I know how to
yeah,
proceed. Do you
yeah.
think you've got that level of insight? It's all about insight, isn't it, really? Like if you
Mm,
don't know that you're having those huge mood changes, then how could you stop something that you don't know exists? Whereas
mm,
we obviously know, you obviously know what the deal is. So
mm.
yeah,
I think big decisions definitely is where like I lean on George. And I run through a lot of things. Before, I used to just do it. Just be like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it, and you can't like, shh, like I'm doing it. So when now, if I get something, he's like, all right. Even with the rabbit, he told me to see. He's like, you don't need a rabbit today. We can talk about it. It could be a week. Like I know a rabbit's not a huge, big decision, but I was like, no, I'm getting it today. The kids want a rabbit today. So I feel like that does creep in every now and then. But when it's things like about the support work and how I was writing my description and where I was at in my mind, what I was going to put down of the description of who I am and what I want to do, I always run these things by George, and he'll, tweak or you say, maybe just sleep on this or do that. Or he's very logical. He's very logical. So if I have to make big decisions, he's the person I go to. But with the impulse decisions every day, like those every 5 minute thoughts, things that just come in and come out, and it's like, oh shit, and then I get fixated on something. There's no control of that. And I think now going into that evaluation of ADHD and even talking to my close friends, like I have a beautiful close friend that I'm just able to release everything, and she can keep up with my changing conversations, my different things, what's happening this week, what's happening that. And she's so supportive because she works in mental health as well. And I feel, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the ADHD evaluation. Yeah, I feel like after speaking and being around my friends, and I did a doozy and self-medicated a Dexy for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, is this what the world is meant to be like? Is this, I can actually think and listen and focus, and like it was insane. I really wanted to just lay down and read a book. So I feel going back into therapy and getting re-diagnosed is going to be a great thing, because I always thought that I did have it, but it wasn't until I sat down with my mum to fill out the paperwork and stuff. She's like, oh, yeah, actually, you have done that when you were a kid, or you were like that in school, or you did get in trouble for that. And yeah, so it's just very interesting now that I thought I always did have it, but I kind of thought that it was because everyone and my phone was feeding me with the fact that everyone has ADHD now. So what's real and what's not? I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't have a clue either.
Yeah.
Gives me a headache. But
Yeah.
yeah, so so the whole theme of this sort of episode has been showcasing the more positive you, basically.
Mm,
So I'm not
mm,
talking to the inner critics today, which is great.
mm.
But yeah, just to reiterate, it's so difficult for me too. These changes in mood, that's almost identity shifts, which makes sense. Identity disturbance with
Yes.
BPD. Do
Yes.
you find, I was just thinking this earlier, just backtrack a little bit, but do you find
Yep.
when you have these depressive sort of act out moods that you regress back to a certain age? Like, does that happen at all? Regression?
Yeah, yes, that's interesting. I haven't been able to find a word for it. And I always say, oh, I've got pictures of my inner child and stuff in the mirror and stuff like that. But that is perfect explanation of it. Because even when I did my first aid for the work stuff during this time of the manic episode after our first episode together, and I felt like I was 14, 13, 14 again, super overwhelmed, like just being on lunch, being bullied by everyone. I felt scared, I felt sad, I felt happy, I felt, like I didn't know what was going on. And yeah, I don't know. It was just really, yeah, I do. I do find that. I can't really explain it, but yeah, I do.
Because when I act out as like, the 16-year-old, the rock and roll star, um, like it's not a complete shift, obviously, because I don't turn into a different person. But everything all of a sudden is evaluated in this light of being more impulsive like a 16-year-old. I definitely,
Mm,
yeah. Even the way I dress
mm.
sometimes, big loud music shirts and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, yes, I feel that through fashion.
Yeah.
I'm a fashionista. I love clothes. I love being able to express myself. And yeah, I've always been like that since a kid, of just changing my hair, piercings, tattoos, changing my clothes. And I feel like I'm the same. One day I'll look completely different style to what I was the day before. So yeah, I do express myself like that as well. And I don't think that's a bad thing, Elliot. I think, going back to that age, and that's what that age needed that day. So that's another thing that we don't need to be so hard on ourselves for, because we're tending to all parts of our human and all parts of our journey. So yeah.
One hell of a journey too.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up? This has been a very off the cuff
It's
sort
been,
of
it
interview, but
has. It has. And thank
so
you.
hopefully everyone can understand what we've been talking about and we haven't gone on too much of a tangent. But
I
at the
think they'll
same
get
time,
it.
that's what it's all about. So
Yeah. No, I think definitely it was, I needed to reiterate what I had said and done, and kind of give myself more credit for where I am now. So thank you for giving me the platform to do that. And I know it's probably no one even thought different to that first podcast coming out. Even people that knew me, they probably didn't even think any different. But I feel listening to it, I needed to be here and share this side because it is such a prominent part of my life. So thank you
yeah, the
again.
positive, you are the positive. You
Yes,
embody it. And I don't know,
I'm a
I just think it's
queen.
great insight that they've been able to have these two interviews. Like I
Yeah.
said, the first one essentially with your inner critic, and then this one maybe with the self, the positive
Mm.
self.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, yeah, it's amazing to see. It makes it really real, I think. We talk about
It
dysregulation,
does.
emotional dysregulation, BPD, all that sort of stuff. But listening to you speak the first time and the second time, it's like, right, this is it in action. This is
Mm-hmm.
it in play.
This is it.
And
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing that we get to capture that insight. So thank you
Yeah.
for doing so.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Well, the
Awesome.
listeners do too.
Yes. Well, enjoy, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Sounds good. We'll organise part 3. What's part
Sounds
3 going to
good.
be like?
Oh God, I don't know. Don't get me scared.
Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
thank you, Stell. Thank you.
You're
We'll talk to you
welcome.
again soon.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Bye.